Morning.
Morning.
What's up?
You got a survey board.
I do have a survey board, but I'm not really doing a survey per se.
What you got?
I'm recording and live streaming.
That's really nice.
Yes, sir,
Yeah,
man.
because I think I've seen you around with the kind of the live streaming thing.
Yeah. Can I record and live stream? Are you down with that?
Oh, you're just like, yeah, what's it about though? What you got?
What I'm doing, I'm interviewing people like for 5 minutes to see what deeply held belief do they hold and why.
Yeah, I think I've heard, you're at the religious panel. I remember you kind of talking about that a little bit, I think.
I wasn't there.
Oh, you weren't? Okay. I've seen you sometime with your GoPro. Maybe you hang around the SSA table a little bit when they're kind of doing their thing, or?
I try not to, but I occasionally will stop by and say hello.
Maybe that's when I saw you, because I remember you having the GoPro on.
Oh, yeah.
I remember maybe you talking about that a little bit. I thought that was
Did you go to the religious thing?
I did last year. That's why.
Oh, because it was just last week, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, no!
Yeah.
That's why I was even going up the steps, as I was hoping they were around to kind of check and see.
Oh, yeah?
If when it was going to be, because I kept trying to be in touch, like when it was going, because I was going to invite students to it.
Oh, wow.
So I could check, because I went last year, and I remember a group of agnostics I brought. They were actually digging the Krishna kind of point of view, so they were interested more about the Christian, or whatever it was, the Christian Science.
Interesting.
They
Are you associated with the SSA in any way?
No, I mean, I always love Ask a Atheist Day, and so that's when I kind of just get to know them a little bit better and ask questions. So I just know Charles, just got to know him better through that.
He's a great dude.
Feel the members, I definitely.
I'm Anthony, by the way.
I'm Austin, nice to meet you, Anthony.
Same here.
Yeah, so I'm actually with on staff with Campus Ministry called the Navigators, and so I just like to.
On Campus Ministry?
Yeah.
Oh,
Campus
okay.
Ministry called the Navigators. Yeah.
Yet you bring agnostics to discussions about religions and stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely, since they're in that kind of seeking stage, I felt that would be helpful for them because when they self-identify that they're curious about other worldviews, just to show them that was it. Because of course, when I'm meeting with them, I'm hoping to develop a relationship, teach and share about the Christian worldview. But at the same time, I'd be like, hey, this. Because this was not something that I was like, oh man, I really want them to see the other worldviews, but because of my relationship with Charles, I was like, hey, they had this religious panel thing on. It'd be interesting to see what this would be like for you guys, since you're in this stage, you self-identify as agnostic.
I have to give you props for being so open to other worldviews like that, especially with people that are in that delicate phase of trying to figure out what's really true. Yeah,
because it's almost like you're a parent. You can't like just shelter your kids from everything. Eventually, there is this natural curiosity, and if I honestly do believe mine to be the truth, that for me, I thought that would be more even an affirming thing to take them to all the worldviews. I mean, that'd even be the hope. Is like, hey, there should be something that should be kind of enticing about this, kind of train of thought. And then if it doesn't, then so be it. It takes you this way. Experience the fullness of what that train of thought would lead you to. But at the end of the day, I believe mine to be the most fulfilling. I believe it to be true. If you live that out.
So if I understand, Austin, you're so confident that you have the truth, that you're comfortable exposing people to varying philosophies, because you're not worried about it. You think that yours would stand up to the scrutiny.
Absolutely, yeah, because that's what I feel too, and I'd even want them to even follow it so they can experience it. I'd rather them be experiencing something than still kind of be in this deciding, questioning, kind of learning phase. So they get more of it to better decision making at that point.
Last year, how many agnostics did you end up bringing to that prayer? Just so people know, the SSA, the Secular Student Alliance, every year hosts a prayer summit, or what is it called?
Is prayer summit?
No, they don't call it that. It's like a religious summit or something.
Oh, you're talking about the religious panel?
The religious panel.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And you, can we turn this way?
Yeah. Let's see.
There we go. That's even better.
Yes,
that's better.
That is good, yeah.
Okay. And you missed the one that was last week.
Yes.
But you did go last year. How many agnostics did you end up bringing?
So I brought two. So a guy named...
Well, you don't have to get in their names.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Let's say that you brought 20 to it.
Oh, wow, that'd be fun.
And they all said, you know what, I think that atheistic position is probably the most honest to be. What would your reaction be?
I'd be like, I'd be interested to see, like, so as an atheist, how would you personally want to live out your atheism? I'd be curious to see how they would feel about that. I would just say, like, hey, are you set in this worldview, or is there any more curiosity to still learn about what we've been learning about in our relationship? And so, but I would give them freedom if they had made that choice. I'd be like, well, obviously, I'm looking for people that want to grow in this. So I'll let you guys, if you want community, that SSA claims to, this is a community where you can find this and continue to grow in this worldview and create relationships that way. I guess I kind of lend you guys this way,
Would you be disappointed at any level that you were to lose 20 people to a competing line of thought?
I mean, it's more kind of sad because, again, it's like I come from this worldview that this is not only just the truth, but it's like the most fulfilling. So in a sense, like, it'd be kind of a temporary thing. It's like, oh, I'm glad they could find, kind of temporary fulfillment, but at the end of the day, I would feel that. And, the hopes would be like, hey, it seems like I'm going to lose relationship with these people, but it's kind of be more focused, like, they're just now going to be kind of my prayer and thoughts. It was like, guys kind of have to let you go, but at the same time, like, hey, here's a group that's going to love you for what you believe in, and they believe the same things as you, and you can have community. But of course, just to have that much people, that much potential to kind of grow your group, I mean, there's always going to be some disappointment. Because it's about the loss of the relationship, because it's like, this was the only reason we related. I'm not an insider here, I'm not a student. I'm here with this ministry. This was our basis of relationship. So even on the relational level, it's sad to see that go.
Yeah, I would imagine so if I had that same
because it's about community is about culture is about belonging. It's like I wanted you to belong to this train of thought, even though you weren't there yet. I wanted this to be a process, but now you belong to this.
Is the reason why you believe it that it's true, why you think that it's true, is because you find it fulfilling?
Yeah, that's a good point of view. Good question. Yeah, fulfilling. And just for me, even just logically, just looking at it, that's what I always enjoy talking about with the opposing view, is just seeing the truth in the matters. I mean, again, it's just evidence for both sides, but the way evidences are expressed too lays a heavy impression on me as well.
There's evidence too. If we were to look at a pie chart of 100% and carve it up between fulfillment and evidence as the reasons why you think that it's true, why you believe it, why you think that God exists. And we could even make little slices in that pie available for perhaps other things that you haven't mentioned yet. But how would you carve it up?
Yeah, so I think that'd be a tough one to kind of, because again, like with belief in God, I mean, it's a faith kind of thing. So again, evidence is kind of an affirming factor to it, but I don't think there's any way I could say, like, I've proved that God exists. And that's not even my basis for sharing about God's existence. I'm not trying to prove that He exists. I can't. And so that's even the disappointing thing with atheists that want empirical evidence for God's existence. Like, I can't give you 100%. Like, to say, like, my belief for God's existence is 100% evidence-based. And even just say, like, the fulfillment with it.
Okay.
So again, that's kind of tough for me to put a ratio on.
If I understand you properly, are you saying, and correct me if I'm wrong, if this is not what you're saying, but are you saying that faith is a foundation from which your fulfillment and the evidence that you see, the fulfillment that you get and the evidence that you see is resting on a foundation of faith?
Yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah.
Okay.
Helping me carve out my belief system even better, more eloquently and concise.
Okay, well, good. And then any other things that we might discover later on as justifications for holding the belief would also be resting on faith.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, basically, of course, specifically in this case, faith in Jesus, His claims, just everything He brings to the table.
Okay. Yeah. Can I get a sense of how sure you are that this belief is true on a scale from 0 to 100? Like, 0% is I'm all doubt, no confidence. 100%, all confidence, no doubt. And we don't have to do the scale, or you don't?
No, we can do the scale, because I feel like it has to be an all-in thing. There can be emotional times where you feel less or more, but like at the end of the day, you have to say, I fully committed to this, so I'd have to give 100%.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. So with faith being the foundation, that would be the most interesting thing that I'd want to focus on if we were to talk.
Yeah.
And before we spend time talking about faith, I want to get an idea of the impact faith would have on the confidence of your belief. So if we talked and you ended up walking away thinking, perhaps faith isn't as reliable of a method for building a foundation from which to base all this other stuff on. What would that do to your position at the 100%?
I'm more of to say, what is my faith in? What is the foundation by which I've placed my faith in would be the most important thing I would want to assess. Is what criteria are we placing the faith in? I think is the important measure.
I'm not sure I follow. I'm sorry.
I was more to say, like, faith by itself, I feel it's just important, like what you're believing in, that's what makes it important. But we just have to assess, like, what is it that you're giving your faith to? But you're more ever saying just like faith as the criteria of like your foundation for belief.
Yeah, like number one, I'd really like to get a definition of what you mean by faith. But perhaps even before we get to that point, if we analyzed this foundation of faith and found that it was riddled with cracks and it was just flimsy as all get out, and I'm not saying that it is, but if it was, if you walked away thinking, oh my goodness, faith really isn't all that reliable, would it have a corresponding impact on your position at the 100%?
Well, yeah, if the case was made and it legitimately rocked my foundation, absolutely would. I mean, at that point. But I think it would either be, I think there would just, I don't think it would lower the percent. I think it would just put kind of this more the kind of the feelings based. Because I feel like it either, the faith has to be all in or all out. I feel it's an all-encompassing kind of thing.
But if you were to realize that faith wasn't reliable, would that immediately lower you down to the 5% mark?
Faith wasn't reliable. I don't think so, no. Because I could even be fine with the fact that faith is not the best determinant, it's not the most reliable.
Okay.
Because again, with what I've placed my faith in.
Would it bring you down to the 50% mark?
I don't think so, no.
Would it bring you down to the 95% mark?
Yeah, because again, with the criteria I've placed, it'd be the all-in, all-out mark. It'd either have to be a case where I'd have to place my 100% faith in something else. I'd have to place 100% into evidence-based reasoning.
Okay.
And go through that. It'd be like, okay, now I'm all into this. That's more my personality type anyway. It's just to do that. That's good talk.
Okay, I think what it sounds like you're saying that if you were to realize that faith wasn't reliable, you'd find other reasons to continue holding the belief.
Yes. Or, I mean, I don't think I would hold to that belief specifically because it is faith-based. I would find where other types of thought could lead me. Like I said, if it's not faith that I can trust, then I would go to other things that I could trust. Like that's why I'd say, like, I guess I'd have to transition to evidence.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you still believe in something 100%?
Yeah. But I would just no longer use faith as the measure to do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
But with regards to believing that a God exists, that your God exists, you're 100% sure that your God exists, and that's all resting on a foundation of faith. If you were to discover that faith was unreliable, that nobody should ever be putting anything on that foundation, and I'm not saying that we could do that, what impact would that have on the 100% of your God belief?
Okay, I got you, yeah. Well, I think that would, if it could truly be shaken, then at that point, just the 0% would have to be thrown into the mix a little bit,
You drop significantly.
Yeah, if I reasonably thought, if I just thought there's no way this faith can, extend this gap towards existence, this can bridge the gap, then yeah, at that point, I'm like, this doesn't need to be there.
Austin, what is your definition of faith?
Yeah, I like what Hebrews 11:1 says. That's always a good one. Because it literally says, like, faith is this, so it's always kind of the go-to one I like.
Okay.
Let me grab that right quick.
Sure.
Yeah, so, I always like this, So Hebrews 11 says, like, now faith is confidence in what we hope for and assurance about what we do not see. Confidence in what we hope for and assurance of what we do not see.
I'm just writing that down.
Yeah.
Because this is important. I want to make sure that I understand it.
I appreciate that, yeah.
Okay. Faith is confidence in what we hope for and assurance in what we don't see.
Yeah.
Do you find yourself using faith for other aspects in your life besides concluding with 100% certainty that your God exists? Do you have confidence in things that you hope for, and assurance in things that you don't see? Do you use faith for other aspects of your life?
Yeah. Maybe, I don't know, I guess you could say different reasonings of thought, but even faith that I don't fall to the ground. Faith in the laws of nature, the laws of logic, that I can even, I don't just go out of my mind in just the next minute. I don't fall through this dimension. I don't transport randomly. I don't explode. I mean, things like that. I mean, I feel like I have to believe that these things are going to remain constant in a sense, but I guess we could even argue that is faith the determinant of that.
Because those would be things that you can see, right?
Things you can see,
Can you think of a better example where you might say, I use faith for that? I hope that it's true. I have confidence in things. I'm hoping that it's true. I'm assured in
like
it.
In relationships, if I invest in this relationship, I'm hoping that there can be this kind of fulfillment. I'm hoping that there can be this friendship, this joy that's created within. I definitely think in that sense.
Can you think of an example of a relationship that you hold today, and that you would say it's faith? It's based on something that you hope for and something that it's not seen?
If we're still keeping like the personal relationships, I think with like a friend one, I'm hoping by being vulnerable to him, like I don't get judged by the tough things about myself that I share. We're still kind of going down that avenue of like what I'm hoping for when I do that. I don't know what I'm gonna see from his reaction. I don't know what I'm gonna hear, but I'm hoping to receive acceptance from him. So these are kind of like.
Can you think of a more specific example?
Yeah.
Like with this friend?
Yeah, or just like something like specific. That's what I'm saying. Like me just sharing stuff from my life, like things that I've failed in doing. Like just character flaws, me sharing a character flaw with this friend in the hoping of not receiving judgment, but just expressing myself to him.
So let's pretend that you have this friend and you recognize that you have this character flaw that, I don't know, I don't want to say anything bad about you. But let's say you had trouble with people's names. Okay? Which I have that problem too. So you meet somebody, and then like the instant you meet them, you forget their name, and you're thinking about telling your friend this character flaw, and you hope that he doesn't judge you on it, and then that's an equivalent of a faith that you would use.
Yeah, in the hopes that this friend's going to accept me no matter what he hears, in the sense that he's not going to condemn me, he's not going to terminate the friendship, that the friendship's going to maintain, that I have full exposure just to express myself, and to admit my wrongdoings, to admit my faults. And to not be rejected for those things.
Okay. Could your hope that would be the case, that he would not judge you, is there a way that we can test that he didn't judge you, or that he did?
All we can really test is like asking him and saying like, did you feel this, or did you judge, or even just seeing his actions. Like, does he continue to be my friend? Does he continue to showcase those actions?
So if he stops replying to text messages, I know it's not a big deal, like to forget people's names, but if
denying call. Yeah, we're just saying if this was like the worst thing ever.
Okay.
We're going for that, but that was just one way to give a specific example.
Okay.
But he just stops, basically living out being my friend, or even to the point where maybe he's trudging through it, he's gossiping, he's slandering, he's defaming my name. He's walking the walk, but he's not talking the talk. He's sharing secrets.
So that in that instance of faith, where you would hope that he would be able to take on this knowledge of your personality and not be affected by it, we'd have a way of testing it to see if you were justified in being that hopeful, right? And having that assurance. Because we could just observe his behavior. So if faith is similar to those situations, to that situation, what would be the mechanism that you would use to determine that your assurance in this belief, 100%, was misplaced? How could we test it in the same manner that we can test your friend's reaction?
So we're trying to test like God's existence, like that be the measure, or
maybe more. How do we test the reliability of faith when you apply it to this idea of the God existing. We have a way to test faith in the manner with which you're using it to conclude that this friend is, you know, he's cool with your deficiency, right? How can we test faith? How could you discover that your assurance in believing in something and having confidence in something that you can't see, that you hope for, really isn't reliable?
Because again, it's like the friends. You know, it's actually living out the belief. It's living out as if, God, this is who you say you are. This is what you said you would do. So now I'm going to live my life in a certain way that you've said, do this, live by this, glorify me in these things, and seeing the actual fruit from that happen.
So well, that's how you would tell that it's working.
Yeah.
How would you be able to tell that your assurance in this belief was misplaced? That it's what if Austin, what if you're believing in something that's not true? How could you figure it out? How could you figure out that this assurance that what you can't see that is true?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm trying to think. Yeah, what could be? Yeah, like basically like the list of like, what things do I need to observe to be like, this is not equating to what I thought it'd be like. This is not a proper foundation.
What's the corrective measure that you have at your disposal to prod that foundation to see if it's as reliable as you think that it is? How can you test it? How can you determine that it's not as reliable as you think that it is?
I don't know. I've never really looked at testing measures to try to see what would it take to disbelieve. Yeah, so I don't even know how to make that assessment. It's something that I've just said, this is the journey I'm on, this is the belief that I have, and now I just want to press forward. So I don't know what it would take for me. I guess that's even on a subjective level, like the experiences would have to just happen, and then the disbelief would happen, but I don't know how to objectively say, this is what I would need to see happen for me to disbelieve. I haven't thought out a list to what that would look like.
If you don't have a way of detecting that you are mistaken on this belief, how could you be certain that you're correct in it?
Yeah, knowing the disbelief from the truth, having that objective measure. I do not know. Yeah, my mind's going blank because usually I'm a marinator, I'm a contemplator. So again, it's not something I've really thought deeply on. Like, what's it going to take for me to disbelieve? What's it going to take to see like this faith is unreliable in a sense, or what that would take for me to see that in that sense.
Do you think that you can take a little time to think about it, and we can meet again?
Yeah, possible. I don't know, I guess I just need little starters to like what that could even look like. I need kind of a framework of like, what are we I guess I need some specific examples of like, what does that look like? To what measure are we looking for here? What are we even trying to explain that looks like to have disbelief in this sense?
Is that something that you think you're capable of thinking about on your own?
No, like I said, I need a little kind of example of kind of what we're even trying to discuss. Like what are some examples you've seen other people, like their measures? Yeah, I need kind of some.
I'm always a little reluctant to give suggestions to people as far as what they would accept.
Yeah.
Because in my experience, the example that I give is accepted, and then the person promptly goes out to figure out how they can disprove that to maintain the belief.
Yeah.
So I've learned a long time ago not to do that because it seems fruitless. I think it would carry more weight, Austin, if you were to think of what is that one thing that I would have to see to realize that this belief is not real, that faith is unreliable. And you don't have to do it right now.
Yeah, but all I can really say is, like, because again, the lens through which I truly have this belief in God is through Jesus, but what caused me for disbelief is just a flaw in his character. A flaw in his character, which would not make him God, a lack of resurrection, like a lack of the supernatural, that would cause me to disbelieve in God. But I would just look at those kind of specific examples you can see in history. You can look at the evidences, but those, because that's where I'm placing my faith. If he lacks the divine nature, then I would disbelieve in the divine being. So I think that would be the big thing, because I think that's what's tough for me.
I think you're off to a good start.
Yeah.
But I might ask yourself, as you're going through this thought process, and you don't have to do it now, I have to do a class.
Yeah.
But as you're going through this thought process, maybe you can ask yourself, what would Anthony ask me if I were to say this? Mm-hmm. What would he question me on next if I were to say, I think I'd have to see some sort of character flaw in the God. What would Anthony ask next? I might ask, well, what would that flaw be? And then you can think about an answer, and you can be like, now, what would Anthony ask about that? Mm-hmm. So that might be a fun exercise to go through until we meet again.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, the biggest thing I got to ask is like the motivation, because I remember you saying you're just hoping to expand people's thought processes as far as deepening their thinking. Are you curious more about what people invest in? What is your motivations behind the journey? Because again, for my motivation behind the journey, like what benefits does this bring me? And since, like you said, it adds a deepening foundation to my faith, if I can find out the disbeliefs from my faith.
Okay.
Is that your motivations behind doing this, or what's the hopes for you behind doing this?
My motivation is to live in a world where people believe true things. And if that is your God, then I want to know about it. If that's her God or his goddess, then I want to know about it. And that's my motivation.
So would you say, are you on a journey of truth, or have you...
Yes, sir. That's a beautiful way of framing it. Yeah.
So this for you is just, you kind of want to go alongside people and see like, hey, what do you think about this? Or what do you think about this?
That is a part of it, but to be brutally honest, the other part of it is, if you don't have the truth, if your truth, Austin, is based on a shaky foundation, I want to help shine that light on that foundation and crawl down under the rafters with you and highlight those deficiencies if they're there.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, shine that light. Yeah.
Here's my card.
Well, there you go.
You can email me and maybe we can meet again.
Thanks for speaking with me. Nice. Thanks for the questions, Anthony.
Have a wonderful day.
Got me thinking. It's good stuff.
All right.
Uh-huh.